Innovation is driven by racing, a reason to be more, be better. It is taking what people have to offer and force them to think of ways to improve, do something different, do something no one has seen before. It's the pursuit of perfection, the relentless drive to go faster, push harder, and climb higher. It's what has fueled human ambition for centuries. But innovation isn't always about chasing the clock or breaking records. Sometimes it's about rethinking the question, not just going forward without a motive. What if the goal isn't to be the fastest or the first? What if it's about finding a better way? Last year I started a film project researching suspension systems of mountain bikes, and to say the least, it captivated me. There were countless approaches to solve similar common problems. I thought that would be the last of trying to build a bike, but the idea lingered for the following year. Breaking my collarbone was a turning point. It stopped everything I knew. For 2 months, all I could do is watch from the sidelines. But I didn't stop. I started. I browsed Pink Bike daily, finding the best deals, coolest bikes, and oldest parts. I watched YouTube videos of machine shops making super cool go-karts, and looking at these parts, the most expensive part is the frame. Somehow the idea got into my head that building my own frame is a real possibility. What do you really need? 6 tubes, a head tube, bottom bracket, and brake mount. The idea stuck with me more, and I remembered what I had tried to do the year prior. I fired up the old suspension software, bought the full version so I could actually save my models, and started experimenting. The idea of seeing a CAD model come to life became more and more real. I don't even know why I thought this was remotely possible. It's not convenient in any way, nor is it easy or cheap. I don't know how to weld, how to make a bike, or to actually make anything real with my hands. This was my opportunity. When I started this project, I knew I wasn't going to create the fastest race bike or the most efficient, feature-packed cross-country machine. That was never the goal. I wanted something different, something simpler, more focused. Okay, so think of it like this. A Mazda Miata. It's not the fastest car in the world and it won't dominate at a racetrack, but that's not the point. It's a car built for the sheer joy of driving. Lightweight, responsive, and fun, designed to put a smile on your face every time you're behind the wheel. My bike is the same idea. It's not built to win races or go fast downhill. It's built for the trails I know best, the ones right here in my backyard. Most of the riding I do is low speed, weaving through trees and tackling short, punchy climbs. For trails like these, you don't need the fastest or most advanced bike in the world. You just need something that feels good under you, something that makes every ride exciting. Okay, so right from the beginning, I knew what my goals for this bike were. Number 1, simplicity. But with an exception. I didn't want to put all this effort and spend all this time into making a bike that is simple, but could have been more. There's really no reason this bike needs to be compromised, but it needs to be elegant. A simple 4-bar dual-link design allows me to get the ride feel I want, but without being super complex. Number 2, durability. Because this is steel, it means the frame will be super durable, and way less maintenance than carbon or aluminum. It should last super long and you won't have to be careful with it. And finally, number 3, fun. Needs to be a bike that is fun everywhere, especially the tame trails. This is where something like an enduro bike lets you down. It's great on the downhill, but as soon as you start going a little slower, it becomes super sluggish. So I started by playing around with the suspension design in a program called Linkage X3. Originally I didn't want to have any bent tubes, so I made sure the shock fit within the base tubing. I opened up an old model in Fusion 360 that I had started a while ago for the previous project. I had the tubing already set up so that made things easier. Workflow for getting the suspension design from linkage into Fusion is a bit tedious, but I made a sketch with all the points and copied the coordinates. I then based things off that. I modeled the chainstay, seat stay, and rear triangle. So my idea is to make everything out of flat metal pieces that would then be cut up and bent to shape. This led to some strange construction, but it ended up being super complex, so it wouldn't really be worth it in the end. I wanted to see this bike in real life, so I scaled it down to a 1/3 scale model that I then printed on the 3D printer. I assembled it with super glue and used a rubber band to simulate a shock. Basically, my master plan is to create this bike, document the journey on YouTube and Instagram. This way I could get views which would not only motivate me, but give me an audience that cares and could help. On Instagram especially, as the video started getting views, people would send me a message saying how cool the bike looked and how they wanted to see it succeed. So what bike did these people want to see anyways? Well, I would describe it as a 130mm 27.5-inch steel trail bike. Basically this means smaller wheels, smaller travel, so more fun. I think the biggest reason everyone was so intrigued by this project was of course because of what I was doing, but also because of how I was presenting it. See, I've had experience with 3D modeling and animation in the past, so I used that to create super cool renders of the frame. This shows a level of professionalism that I don't think a lot of people understood was possible for a person like me. So I had a little break from working on the bike, and when I came back, it was ready for a redesign. I completely reworked the suspension, pushing the shock and linkage way further down, fixing any weird anti-squat and anti-rise curves. This also pushed the center of gravity much lower, which would make the bike handle well and feel nice and planted. Eventually I settled on a design using machine linkage, so that way everything is stronger and it minimizes welds. Because these parts are machined, they can be made out of aluminum, cutting the weight almost in half. So, what next? As for the bike, I hope to complete a first prototype out of PVC pipes and keep working to make this a reality. But for me, this project has taught me way more than just the technicalities of making a bike. The more I share this project, the more I see others doing the same. People just like me, creating something amazing and sharing it with the world. Any company can claim to make the best bike ever. They spend years developing it behind closed doors only to launch it and hope people care. But the people I've met, the ones openly sharing their journeys, aren't worried about competition or intellectual properties. They're just excited to build, learn, and connect. And that's the difference, acting like you're bigger than you are, using we instead of I, misses the point. Building relationships is far more impactful than building a brand. Because when you're just some kid making a bike, people don't see a company, they don't see an ad, they see a person. And people connect with people, not logos. That's why sharing the process is just as important as the final product. The renders, the mistakes, the moments of doubt, like wondering if you can even bend a chromoly tube. That's what makes people care, more than any polished video of a product with no story. Maybe innovation isn't about making the most revolutionary thing in the world. Maybe it's about making something people care about. Last year, I said I wouldn't try to make a bike, but I've changed my mind. And if what I just said is true, then I think I'm on the right track.